Welcome to Community Church Unitarian Universalist. I'm your worship associate, Michelle Firestone, and it's a joy to be with you this morning. Unitarian Universalism is a religion of binding oneself to others through respect and sensitivity toward the sacredness of all. We are a religious people, whether we identify as earth-centered, theist or atheist, humanist, Buddhist, Hindu, agnostic, or Unitarian Universalist Christians. We gather to give worth to what is ultimate in our lives and to honor what is asked of us as a people of faith, as religious liberals. We gather to support one another in our spiritual growth and to work to further the beloved community on earth while doing the work of justice. We have one special announcement this morning from Sean.
Hi, everybody. Quick announcement. Hi. The church's annual pledge drive will be starting up soon. It's getting to be that time of year. This year is going to be a big one, so stay tuned. The kickoff day for the pledge drive will be in 2 weeks, so that's Sunday, August the 30th, right? Today's the 16th. Yes. Yeah. Sunday, August the 30th. So 2 weeks out. We will have the typical lunch after worship that day with a catered main course, some catered vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free items. And the rest is going to be a potluck like we did last year. So the announcement is there is a sign-up board in the fellowship hall where you can write your name down if you want to bring a dish for the potluck, so a salad, a vegetable, a dessert, etc. So that board will be in the fellowship hall the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
We would like to welcome any new and returning visitors today. We hope you'll stay after the service for refreshments and fellowship. We have a little special celebration today after the service, so please stay for that. In the spirit of fellowship, please turn to your neighbors, especially those you may not know, and say hello. Oh, beautiful people.
I learned the hard way years ago that if I go down there, it's really hard to come back.
I know.
Because I have to cut somebody off, so yeah.
We are delighted to welcome back into our pulpit this morning Reverend Jane Mauldin. Since her graduation from Unitarian Universalist Seminary, Reverend Mauldin has served 4 UU congregations, including 11 years as the founding member of the North Shore UU congregation. She most recently served as the chaplain at Touro Infirmary for 12 years. Reverend Mauldin is the mother of 3, grandmother of 4, and enjoys being with friends, old and new.
Good morning. Good morning. Come in. Make yourself at home. Come in from the weather. Make yourself a religious home, if only for these brief moments, in spite of time which shall soon bear us away from one another. Make this a family. Treat us as your own. Make us a religious family, if only in this space which we make sacred by our connections here and beyond. Come on in. Make yourself at home. The words for singing our chalice lighting are printed in your order of service. So let us sing together. We light this flame to affirm the light of truth, the knowledge, the warmth of love and community, and the fire of hope and commitment. The reading for our Time for All Ages is by the Reverend David O. Rankin, who served in the San Francisco First Unitarian Church for many years while raising his children. Dear Oren, you have inquired about the ministry. I need not describe the perils, since you have observed the staring into space, heard the late night calls for help, read the cranky letters, and been affected by 1,000 funerals. I thank you for never complaining. Oren, I imagine you are considering the ministry because you know my secret. Yes, I love it. I love the church, with the scent of the ages in the air, with the light filtering through the windows, with the music and mystery of eternity echoing off the stone walls. I love the challenge of going deep down into the cave of the heart, of soaring above the obvious, of stretching every nerve and fiber for truth and understanding. I love the people, as they are the source of religious inspiration, as they are the mentors of human courage, as they are the bearers of joy and forgiveness. The saints are in the pews. Yes, I love the ministry, but whatever you choose as a career, it will be a form of ministry, since you have been blessed with a sensitive spirit. In the end, we are all ministers to each other, witnessing in our own ways to the ties that bind. Every task is holy when the heart is employed. Isn't that a cool sentence? Every task is holy when the heart is employed. In the meantime, Oren, for God's sake, get a haircut. Yes, speaking as a dad. So I invite you now to reflect on how someone, maybe a friend, a colleague, a neighbor, or a family member, how they have ministered to you. And take a moment to reflect on maybe one person who has ministered to you when you needed it, whether to celebrate a joy, to hold you in sorrow, to inspire you to have greater courage at a difficult time, to support you when you needed that extra energy and love. So I invite you to think through who that might be in your life. And if you are willing to share, raise your hand. We want to hear it. It is a gift to all of us that you share who has helped you.
Luca's my next door neighbor.
Luke is your next door neighbor. Luca. And Luca has been kind to you sometimes, huh?
Slide. Luca has a water slide at his house.
Luca has a water slide at his house. And you know, sometimes being on a water slide together is just what we need. Thank you for sharing. Jim.
Yes, well, when my wife was dying of dementia, you ministered to me, my daughter, and her, and that was a great comfort. Also, Reverend Jacqueline Luck, I don't see her today, but she performed a wonderful funeral service. I'm very grateful for that ministry.
Thank you, Jim. Yes. Yes.
I met a lovely group of friends at the beginning of this summer, and I had been having a really hard time since I just got out of the psych hospital, and they really helped me get through it and were there when I needed them the most. And now we're like best friends, and they're leaving to college, and I'm so sad.
But they have been there for you. There are no real words to express what that means to be seen and held and welcomed for just who we are. Who else has a? Okay. Sally.
This was shortly after I finished graduate school in college, and I was considering quitting playing the trumpet altogether because I just couldn't get beyond the point I was at, and it was painful to play because I was doing it all wrong, and nobody in college had bothered to correct any of it. So I got selected. A friend of mine got me in with a trumpet teacher who was very hard to get with. His name was Don Jacoby. And he said, "We're going to change everything about the way you play. Are you dedicated to this?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay." And he was so dedicated to it, while he was turning down other people for lessons, I got 4 lessons a week so he could get me going. And I said that Jake really mentored that. And I'm trying to pass that along through all the music I've been doing since. So.
Music is a gift and a spiritual path, and you're mentoring other younger musicians now. Thank you. Yes.
So in May, I lost my 16-year-old companion, my Australian Shepherd, and I live alone, so it was just him and me. And my neighbor, Sandy, who is a retired nurse, was there with me at the end and really, really supported me. She's got the biggest heart.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Well, you know who your people are. Is there another hand? You know who has ministered to you. So let us take a moment to reflect on them, hold them in our heart, and imagine how we can be in ministry to another in days to come. The words for the children's recessional is in the order of service. And if you have a child with you, they are very welcome to stay here. Is there? There is childcare. There is a child's program if you want your kiddo to participate. So singing for our children here and for all the children of the world together. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love around you everywhere, everywhere you may go. You may have caught on that the theme of this service is ministry, both professional ministry and ministry that we do for one another, sometimes every day. So the responsive reading is in your order of service. It's the insert in your order of service. Ministry is all that we do together. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of our human spirit, miracles of birth and life, wonders of devotion and sacrifice. We who minister speak and live the best we know, with full knowledge that it is never quite enough, and yet are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joy shared. Ministry is what we all do together.
Now is our sacred time of joys and sorrows. If you're online, you may write your joys and sorrows in the comments section to be read aloud. In person, you may write them on one of the cards being passed out by our greeters. Please remain seated for hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me. This one does not have a name on it, but A Joy and Sorrow. A father figure, Pat Pearson, was hospitalized, had emergency surgery, and survived, but is in critical care. From Bill, A Joy. I turned 58 this week. And I am grateful for another trip around the sun. Aren't we all? From Jim, a sorrow that this is Reverend Jane's last Sunday with us, but a joy that Reverend Gordon Bailey is now our full-time minister. I think this is from Nick, yeah. A sorrow for the craven cowardice of the National Guard. Shame on the American military for participating in the sweeps rounding up unhoused people and disappearing them into the prison system, the main branch of the public library is now fenced off. In Orleans, really? I did not know that. Wow. From Vincent, I know I've already said it, but I'm grateful for my friends beyond measure. I'll miss them immensely. Much love to Henry, Dash, Des, and Tristan. Now we'll light 2 more candles and pause for a moment of silence, recognizing the joys and sorrows of those in our community, spoken and unspoken.
The reading is by the Reverend Jack Mendelson, who was my first Unitarian Universalist minister, in the midst of time, back at the First Unitarian Church of Chicago, Illinois. Jack wrote, "Who is a Unitarian Universalist minister? A Unitarian Universalist minister is a person never completely satisfied or satisfiable, never completely adjusted or adjustable, a person who walks in 2 worlds, one of things as they are, the other of things as they ought to be, and loves them both. Ministers are persons with pin-cushioned souls and elastic hearts who sit with the happy and the sad in a chaotic pattern of laugh, cry, and know deep down that the first time their laughter is false or their tears are make-believe, their days as real ministers are over. Ministers are people with dreams they can never wholly share, partly because they have some doubts about them, and partly because they are unable to explain adequately what it is they think they see and understand. A minister is a person who continually runs out of time, out of wisdom, out of courage, and out of money. A person whose tasks involve great responsibility and little power, who must learn to accept people where they are and go from there. A person who must never try to exercise influence that has not been earned. The minister who is worthy knows all this and is still thankful every day of life for the privilege of being a minister. The future of the liberal church is almost totally dependent on these 2 factors: great congregations, whether large or small, and effective, dedicated ministers. The strangest feature of their relationship is that they create one another. They create one another. I love it. I love it. I remember the first time that I went into a Unitarian Universalist church. Maybe you do too. Maybe for some of you, this is today your first visit to a Unitarian Universalist congregation. If it is, then welcome. Perhaps some of us were raised Unitarian Universalist. Anyone here? There are some. Yes, yes. You are lucky, lucky people. It happened for me this way. I was in graduate school at the University of Chicago Divinity School and became friends with a UU seminarian who was in one of my div school classes. Well, Kate and I became good friends, shared coffee and fascinating conversation in the local coffee shop, and Kate invited me to church. To put it mildly, I was not interested. No, thanks anyway. I've done church, I said. I was sure that a Jewish carpenter 2,000 years ago was not God. And I was not interested in hearing someone else preach to me about sin and salvation. I had been there, done that. I'm done. I had to think for myself, like Thoreau, to walk to the beat of my own different drummer. I was studying world religions and was finding in Judaism, in Buddhism, in earth-centered religions, in feminist thought, in modern poetry, I was finding insight and wisdom that were and continue to be real and true for my life. Church? Bah humbug. But Kate persisted, asked me over and over, and I really respected her and liked her, and just to shut her up, I agreed to go to the First Unitarian Church of Chicago with her one Sunday. Well, what do you know? When I walked into the building, I was dumbfounded. There in that 100-year-old soaring stone Gothic sanctuary were gorgeous, colorful banners of the world's religions prominently displayed, high and proud. The Buddhist wheel of Dharma, the yin-yang of Taoism, and yes, the cross of Christianity. These were visual images of the core values of the people of that congregation, respect for and inspired by a diversity of beliefs and cultures and wisdom. I returned to that congregation on my own. Kate didn't have to drag me the second time, and I joined. And then I applied to study at the Unitarian Universalist Seminary across the street, and the rest is history. You have your own story of how you found this faith, this people, and what has brought you back, whether you're born UU or a brand new today UU, what has brought you back time and again to this faith and this congregation. You have your own images of what symbolic banners have inspired your heart and your soul when you walk into this sanctuary. And since 1968, for over 58 years, and I'm coming to your 60th anniversary bash, put my name on an invitation now. 58 years ago, men and women and children have been finding their souls fed and their lives richer by the images, the values, the wisdom that this congregation offers. During that time, there have been amazing accomplishments and dire challenges. Early on, you bought and paid for first a building on South Carrollton. I didn't know that. I learned that recently, a building on South Carrollton, then a building on this land, which was then destroyed by the flood following Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Some of you here remember that. And then this beautiful, this was the first fully green church building in the state of Louisiana, am I right? Yes. Where you live and thrive today. And along the way, you've dealt with economic crashes, dear friends and family members moving away or dying. and the horrible personal and communal losses after Hurricane Katrina. But with determination, sacrifice, much love, and with love and support by Unitarian Universalists from throughout the United States, and especially from among yourselves, you reimagined and rebuilt your presence in the greater New Orleans area. During those years, you have been served by a number of professional ministers, each with unique gifts and insights, each with wisdom. And to be honest, several of those ministries have also been the source of pain and struggle. Let's name them. Early in the 1960s, Reverend Grant Butler and Reverend Richard Stadelman, Dr. Prosper Van Millbrook from UNO. Then as called ministers in the 1970s, Reverend Jim Jones, Reverend Matthew McNaught, followed by Reverend Don Boudreau. Then you grew under the longer ministries of Reverend Katie Korb for 15 years and Reverend Jim Vanderweel for 16 years. Reverend Jim waited, walked, laughed, and cried with you through the years of loss and renewal following Katrina. Reverend Darcy Roque, by the way, sidebar, Reverend Darcy Roque, who served here for a few years in the 20-teens, she and her husband were one of the 6 couples that took the 10 Commandments lawsuit by ACLU all the way to a much higher court, where the higher court finally said, yes, you have to post the 10 Commandments. It was Reverend Darcy Roque who served you, who was very instrumental in those lawsuits, which they're still fighting. And most recently, Reverend Stacy Mitchell for a couple of years. Since then, you have filled your pulpit with a number of guest ministers, including Reverend Melanie Morell Insminger and me and others, led by a fabulous team of worship associates. If you're a worship associate, raise your hand. And I do want to lift up and name your amazing music ministry and choir, now spirited on by your incredibly energetic and talented Nicholas Yetter. Yes. Each of these professional ministries has been quite different from the ones before and the ones following. Yet with each ministry, you have found ways to thrive, recognizing the strengths and challenges that each new minister brings to your community. With each called minister, despite your own personal and economic struggles and the cultural climate of the day, deep breath, your community has claimed hope. You are here today saying yes. Yes, you are here today because this church, as it has been for 58 years through lean times and plenty, this church is both an oasis and a beacon. It is a place where the religiously displaced persons, as I was back there in Chicago, where we have a home. It is a place where people may experience freedom from cosmic fear and creedal coercion, freedom to build a church of immense goodwill and generous spirit, even in the midst of a culture of religiously sanctioned hatred. Let me say that again. Here, you are building a church of generous spirit in the midst of a culture of religiously sanctioned hatred. Over the years, you have experienced so many incredible adventures and achievements and challenges. You all have come through so much. And yet I see in you not only the spirit of survivors, but the spirit of dreamers. And you, our newer members and friends, who have joined us over the past few months and years have brought immense joy, insight, wisdom, and new vision. And when I come to worship with you, I hear hope. I hear you casting the vision, asking the questions that really matter. Who are we? Where are we going? What binds us together? What does our common faith call us to do in this hurting world? Let's recall for a minute where we have come from. And I'm saying we, I'm using first person plural because right now I feel very much part of your community. Every time I walk in here, I know I belong. So we, Community Church Unitarian Universalists, think back a moment. One of the roots of our heritage is that of privileged, white, Harvard-educated Unitarians of New England who asserted against all the Trinitarians around them, they asserted that there was only one God, universally. Those Unitarians valued human reason and preached the possibility of people working together to overcome injustice, like the Reverend Theodore Parker, who wrote his sermons at a desk with a gun in his desk drawer in the early 1860s, because his home was a refuge for people fleeing enslavement on the Underground Railroad. And if the enslavers knocked on his door as he's writing his sermon about goodwill to all men, he's got his gun. And that is part of our heritage. From that root, we have grown to embrace many names for what is holy and to welcome wisdom from many sources to support us in our spiritual growth. Another strong root is the wisdom we have from the more working class Universalists, many of them country people, not so well educated, also from New England. They experienced and preached God as all embracing love so powerful and true for each and every one of us on the face of this planet. For Universalists, no one can be left behind. For the Universalists, salvation for one is salvation for all. Justice for one is justice for all. One story from our Universalist heritage. Hosea Ballou, an early Universalist, began his ministry as a circuit riding preacher in Vermont and New Hampshire. One day, so the story goes, he encountered a Baptist preacher on the road who asked him about Universalism. Ballou spoke of the God of love that he experienced and proclaimed disbelief that God would condemn a person to hell. The Baptist was amazed. If I was a Universalist, then I could steal your horse and all your possessions and not worry about eternal punishment when I die? That's right, responded Ballou. But if you were a Universalist, that thought would never cross your mind. Universalism called for a change in heart and how we are in relationship with all other human beings. And from these roots, we are continuing to build a faith that is ever in process. From it, we are building the beloved community right here in Lakeview. It is forever a vision, incomplete, not yet accomplished, yet shining, beckoning, inspiring us. It wasn't easy 58 years ago, and there have been long stretches since then when it hasn't been easy. And there have been long stretches of great accomplishment and celebration. Now, this year, you are building anew with a new minister, the Reverend Gordon Bailey, And by the way, I had a 3-hour breakfast with Reverend Bailey several weeks ago. I expected it to be an hour, and we just couldn't stop talking. He has a fascinating history and a brilliant mind and a gregarious nature, and you are going to love him. I already do. But he's married, he has a kid and a grandkid, and they're all moving to New Orleans together. You are very lucky people. Get to know him. Oh, how this church is needed, and how you are needed to build it. You, all of you, knowing not how you will solve the problems or heal the souls, but it is you, each of you, who must do it, but not alone. Do it together. And so you have built your church. So you are building your church for the future. You build it out of cement and mortar and glass. Yet to shelter this community of faith, we really build our churches out of the acts we do, the meetings we go to, the programs we attend and lead, the songs we sing, the rituals that we celebrate, the time with our children, the bread we break together, the gardens that we create, the values and opinions we argue about, the struggles we have trying to shape our church, trying to work through our own personal wounds, trusting those around us to hear us, hold us, and be with us as we evolve. You build this church out of newsletters and news, information and budgets, and the annual pledge drive, the nuts and bolts. You build it out of things you do in the larger community in which we live, the environmental activism, the work with the hungry, the anti-racism meetings, the work with the oppressed and the abused. Your church is built out of small acts done by you, each of you, and it is held together by love, by kindness, by smiles and hugs and notes and emails and phone calls. This is the mortar that holds it all together, and these small acts add up. A few years ago, I was at a minister's retreat. Some of us were moaning and shaking our heads at the difficulties and challenges of our ministries. And then a very wise, dear colleague spoke up. And Dennis looked at us quietly and said one of those simple but wise paradoxes that linger, that settle in, that take time to root and bloom over time. He said, we don't have to do this. We get to do this. It's like this church. We could all walk away, spend our pledges on clothes or vacation or new electronics. We don't have to do this. We get to do this. It is a privilege. Do you know what you have accomplished here? Oh, I know you are not done. There are many chapters yet to write. The work is never done, not in our lives, not in our generation. It is a privilege granted by the universe that we would be plagued by open-mindedness and religious doubt, that we would love freedom so well and be stalked by the vision of injustice, that we would be blessed with the gigantic responsibility of helping our children develop a moral heart, of challenging hatred and intolerance wherever we see it, of helping our community bind together in compassion and caring. It has been a central privilege of my life to serve you in ministry. First in your pulpit occasionally in the 1980s and 90s, when I know you could never guess that I would have been a baby minister in the 90s. And when I was serving full time on the North Shore, and especially over the past 3 years as a consulting minister, I've been amazed and incredibly proud to be associated with you as you have reclaimed and invigorated your vision of a church of freedom, of justice making, and of love. I will no longer be with you on the next steps of your journey together, but I will be watching and rejoicing from the sidelines, trusting that your vision of the beloved community will bless everyone who walks through your doors. From my first days in a Unitarian Universalist church in Chicago through today, and in the days to come, I truly believe in the vision of Unitarian Universalism, and I'm so excited to see how you grow and evolve your ministry together with Reverend Bailey, who you will meet in a few weeks if you have not already. In order to truly step away and give space for you all to create that vision together, I will not be available to be in your pulpit until at least after Mardi Gras next year. Nevertheless, my love, my care will be with you as you do whatever you can for your community and your world with those who share your passion, your courage, your vision. In the adapted words of one of my favorite hymns that we will sing this morning soon, love will guide you. Peace has tried you. Hope inside you will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide you through the hard night. Amen. Amen.
Just a quick announcement that I meant to make during announcements this morning. We are First Church. Their air conditioner is not working right now, so they are going to be holding their Sunday service at 1 o'clock today, and we're going to share a coffee hour with them today from 12 to 1. So please stay for that and visit with our other UU friends, New Orleans. Now, we might turn the tables on Reverend Jane a little bit this morning. Since this is her last Sunday in our pulpit, we want to give her a special send-off. CCUU has not had a full-time minister for nearly 3 years now. In that time, the worship ministry has worked hard to bring you high-caliber, thought-provoking speakers, and many people inside and outside our congregation have stepped up to help us with that. For those 3 years, Reverend Jane has been a steady, unifying presence in our pulpit, providing exceptional monthly services and taking on a good part of that load from the worship ministry. Something many of you know, but some newer people may not know, is that she has also provided pastoral care for many of our members and friends, visiting them in their homes and in hospitals. And I have seen her stay after service countless times to talk to people who need extra compassion and encouragement. I could go on, but instead of that, we're going to pass the mic around and provide you all with a few minutes to share your thoughts and let Reverend Jane know how you feel about her. So just real quickly, I'll say, Reverend Jane did my husband's memorial service here at CCUU, and it was an honor and privilege to have her do that. And I really appreciate that.
Reverend Jane, you are one of my all-time favorites. I consider you one of the best. I love you and I wish you well, and I can't wait to see you after Mardi Gras. You've been very inspirational in every way for me.
Well, I'm Al Malone, and I'm the son of one of the founding members of the North Shore congregation who had the privilege of having Reverend Jane as their founding minister. So I've been knowing her quite some time, even during the years when I wasn't a participating UU. She's been part of our group of friends and allies. And when I was in the hospital recently, she came and saw me. I totally didn't expect that, but it was an extremely joyful time for both of us, with me not at my best, lying in a hospital bed, and she did a lot to cheer me up and bolster my life force. So thanks a lot, Reverend Jane, and keep up the good work.
I think like a lot of us, I was never prouder to be a member of this church when one morning during the ICE enforcement operation here, I went out to check the news, and is that Reverend Jane? Is that our Reverend Jane on the news? Out there stalking ICE and calling things in and showing us how it's done. That's faith in action. Thank you for that example.
Related to that, actually, when I was considering going back to try church again, even though I'd sworn it off, and then I saw that article and I thought, I need to find out what church this is, because that's the kind of minister that I want. Like, that's the kind of community. So your integrity and your courage actually inspired me and my daughter to come here for the first time. So thank you.
Reverend Jane, you mentioned something I had done for you, but there was something I've never forgotten that you did for me. I had a stroke, if you recall, in Truro. And they had me down as Catholic. So a Catholic priest came in, and in a soft voice, he recited the Our Father in Latin. Did nothing for me. But then you came in, somehow somebody got the idea. And you, on the spot, made up a prayer, which just gave me hope again. I want to thank you for that.
I'm not going to stand up again. When I had my knee replacement, a number of people from the church came by and helped me with stuff that I couldn't do because I couldn't stand up more than about 2 minutes at a time. And Reverend Jane came by for a pastoral visit, and not only was it very comforting and wonderful to get to visit with her, but she saw the sink full of dirty dishes and took care of that before she left. So, it's like, she's not just the faith in action by the book. It's like whatever is needed, she's there.
So you already heard personally how much I appreciate your ministry to me and my family. Well, we as worship associates and ministry team trying to figure out, we needed to do something special to honor your ministry. And we knew that you loved your butterfly garden, okay? So Michelle and I found some plants that are guaranteed to attract your wonderful butterflies. We hope you accept this as a gift of our love and our appreciation of you.
Community Church Unitarian Universalist is a self-sustaining congregation. Members and friends' generosity help us do the sacred work of bringing justice, spirituality, and compassion to our community and beyond. You can give online, by text, or in person this morning. Please remain seated for our offertory hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
And now, with what benediction shall I leave you? This, in your life, may you know the holy meaning, the mystery that breaks into every moment. May you live at peace with your world and peace with yourself. And may the love of truth guide you in your everyday. Go your ways, knowing not the answer to all things, yet seeking always the answer to one more thing than you know. Be seekers with your friends. Be adventurers in ways untrod. Hold the hope of discovery high within you, sharing the hope and whatever discovery may come with others. Shalom, salam, ashe, blessed be. Amen. Let us sing together number 201, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. Please rise as you are able in body or spirit. much sweeter since I laid my burden down. Life is sweeter, so much sweeter since I laid my burden down. While they will sing hallelujah since I laid my burden down. Feel like dancing hallelujah since I laid my burden down. Love is shining all around me since I laid my burden down. Love is shining all around me since I laid my burden down. That hymn means so much to so many of us in so many ways. This is now officially at least the third time I have retired. So I'm laying down the burden of writing sermons for a while. We shall see. The words for extinguishing our chalice are in your order of service. Let us say together. Gently in our hearts, may it light your path as you lead this place. May it light your way until we are together. Yay, Nicholas.